there are many learnings and we'll go through that. But the one which I believe is the most important is customer is king, right? As an entrepreneur, sometimes we have a lot of ideas in our head and we believe this is the best idea in the world and we really pursue that with passion. And that is fantastic, actually do things with passion, right? But we sometimes forget the customer and we focus more internally. So my view is customer is king. Try and understand the customer. Try and empathize with them. Try and understand what their real needs and wants are. And go out in the market, start interviewing random people just to, try out your idea, okay? Once you get feedback, start building a prototype around that. Get more feedback. Start building further prototypes until you get it right. So customer, once you understand the customer, try and set a business which suits their needs. Not what you want to sell, because as entrepreneurs, we are very much internally focused. And rather than being internally focused, we need to be externally focused. And if I take my own experience as an example, I had a very different vision of what Victoria Quartz is. And initially I said, Kenya needs things which are cheap and cheerful. It needs something very modern as well. It needs monthly financing. And unfortunately, everything which I had envisioned, because I was very much internally focused, didn't plan out. And eventually I had to pivot my model. I had to change the whole business model to suit the customer. So it's very important, if you're able to understand the customer better, you're able to then give a solution which is more suited to the customer and not yourself, right? And one of the big things I believe in is customer journey. And a customer has a journey and various touch points with your business throughout, right? And what I really, really encourage new entrepreneurs or young guys who are starting out new in business is really identify the whole customer journey from the beginning to the end. At every point, I call it a touch point, wherever the customer is going to be interacting with your business, make sure it's a wow experience. Be fanatic, right, about the customer journey. Your aim is delight the customer. So if I give you again an example for Victoria Quartz, and I was to talk about the customer journey, the first touch point, if I were to say, is awareness. So we have a whole lot of marketing. We do billboards, we do radio, we do the signage, the showroom, etc. But that is my first touch point, and I want to give a very positive image around that. Thereafter, when they do decide to buy furniture and they walk into the showroom, again the experience, the security guard greeting them, and then from there the salesperson greeting them and interacting and really understanding their needs right to the end of the sales process. But it doesn't stop there. Thereafter, we have delivery, right? So again, my team will go, and we call it a white glove treatment. They'll go to the customer's place, clear off the area, establish, set it up, give them advice on how to look after it, right to the end. But again, it doesn't stop there. Should we have a follow-up call, so we make sure as a customer, are you okay? Or even in case we're humans, so we make mistakes. So do acknowledge, be human there, right? We do make mistakes, but if a customer calls, treat them as a human. Again, understand their needs, be patient with them, listen to them. And the more you do that, the better you're able to serve the customer. And there's nothing like a happy customer, right? So my biggest lesson, or if I were to say for a new entrepreneur, is understand the customer. The customer is king, empathize with their needs, and make sure you're able to serve their needs through an amazing customer journey. Be fanatic about it, and make sure it's a wow experience at every touch point. So when I started Victoria Quartz, I wouldn't lie, we're only 6 years old, okay? Year 1, losses. Year 2, losses. Year 3, losses. Up to year 4, we were in a bad shape. And year 4 is where I said, we either make it or break it. It was that tough because as a new business, there's a lot of pressure on cash. There's a lot of pressure, and you start doubting yourself. You really start doubting yourself. Have I done the right thing? Yes or no? So every year, And I'll tell you, when you're tight for resources is perhaps the best time for innovation, because you really stretch your imagination. How else can I do it, right? How can I make better use of expenses? How can I cut down costs? How can I be more creative and drive more sales? And you really start analyzing your business of what's working and not working. So coming back to your question, yes, there were many times I was saying, will it work or not, and where I should pivot my model. And throughout the first 3-4 years of my journey, we kept on changing and refining. Some things worked, and we did more of that. And remember that sometimes we forget things which we're good at, you need to invest more in that. So we started doing more of that. Things which didn't work, so when I started the business, we had a bed for 8,000 shillings, and we had a bed for 1 million shillings. So we had a huge range. Not only that, we were trying to cover every segment out there. So we were doing electronics, we were doing kitchenware, and some things were working and some were not. And we had to make some hard calls. And we said, these things are not working, let's discontinue it, right? And where we saw some promise, we carried on investing there. Yeah, so sometimes you do need to take a long-term view, but some things you have to be ready to make the call that this was my vision and unfortunately didn't work. And you know, you've got to make a hard call there. So, very good question. And this is a tough one, and it's the word you said, you need to have resilience. And the answer to resilience is mind over matter. Your mind has to be very, very strong, right? And you have to, as much as everyone around you is doubting you or whatever, you need to be positive, you need to believe in yourself, right? So believe in yourself and try and in fact, the word I'll say is try and surround yourself with positive people around you. Because I tell you, there's nothing like the power of positivity. Make sure you're surrounded by positive people, make sure you're driven, motivated, and be ready to fight anything out there, right? And if you have that will, if you have that drive, trust me, you'll succeed. It might take a bit longer than everyone else, but you will succeed, okay? And just going back on positive people, there's one term I use, and I shared it with earlier. It's called energy vampires. And sometimes a lot of us, we have energy vampires around us. And the way I describe energy vampires is these are the people, you sit with them and they really, really drain your energy, because all they're saying is, oh my God, the roads are bad, the weather is bad, the corruption is bad. And unfortunately, a lot of the people around us are very much like that. But there are few individuals who are constantly negative. And my view is, when you've got a glass half, never look at it as half empty, always look at it as half full, right? Have that positive attitude, surround yourself with positive people. Simple things I do, I've joined certain organizations. So the one is called EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. So if you're able to surround yourself with positive people, you'll become driven and you'll see things in a very positive way. Yeah. So just adding further to that, another example I can give you of how I stay positive. Create a buddy system. You might have someone within your field where you feel very comfortable sharing, right? And one thing I do, I've got a buddy out there, and every morning I write to them 3 things which I'm grateful for. 3 things I'm grateful for. Because automatically that changes your whole mind to think positively. Right? So every morning I'll say 3 things I'm grateful for and 3 intentions I have. So you get that focus. So you're very driven. You write down what your intentions are, what your goals are, so that you're very committed and driven towards that direction. Yeah. So every business is at a different stage in their cycle. When you're a startup, things are slightly different, and then when you're much larger, certain systems and processes are of a different scale. So you need to adapt your systems and processes to suit that. But coming back to what you said, one thing which doesn't change, no matter how small or however large you are, is very important to have very good clarity in terms of what your vision is. And I almost compare it to climbing Mount Kenya, right? To climb Mount Kenya, if any of us decided to climb Mount Kenya, it would take days, months, perhaps years of training. You can't suddenly say, okay, some of the people out there are very fit, but someone like me will take years of training before I'm capable of climbing up that mountain. So you do need to do a lot of preparation, but eventually if you do all the things right and you go through the thing, you'll reach the top of Mount Kenya, right? So that's what I believe is the vision of the business. So if you have that goal in sight, and as example, it could be as simple as, for Victoria Courts, is to be the leading furniture retailer in East Africa. So that's my flag, and that's where I'm aiming towards. So all my activities are all driven towards there. So my intentions and everything is very clear towards achieving that goal, right? So it's very important to have that vision, so that it gives you a flag or a marker to work and drive all your efforts towards. So that's your vision. Mission, I don't like the word mission, so I tend to use purpose. And the question is, what's the purpose of us being there? Or what's the purpose of the business? And it's normally there to solve a problem. And for Victoria Courts, if I were to put it in simple layman terms, our purpose is to add a touch of love, comfort and lifestyle to people's lives every day, right? And that includes my people, my staff, because I want them to have a better comfort, a better lifestyle for tomorrow. And then the final thing is values, and I think many of us, we understand what values are, but it's things like honesty, integrity, and if I were to, but you need to custom make it for your company, right? So again, for Victoria Courts, our values are entrepreneurial. We're very energetic and passionate and driven as a company. P is for people-centric. So we are very much people-focused. We ensure we respect each other, we work as a team. Another one is integrity, because we really believe in what's right and wrong. Okay, and having an honest organization to me is very, very important. Because what we do in Earth, you can make as much money as you like or as little money as you like, but when you go to heaven, God is not going to care about how much money you made and how you made it. He's going to look at you as a person and see how good or bad you are, right? And then the final one, and I've said that at the beginning, customer-centric, right? We do everything here for the customer. All right, so those are some of the values, but you need to define what the values for you as a person and you for your business. And the more you can ingrain that within your business, no matter how small or how large it is, you're creating a common thread between you and all the employees, right? So that to me is very, very powerful. And coming back to my second point, the other thing which is very, very critical for me is my people. I see my team as my key asset, right? And I invest, and as a leader, I almost believe my job as a leader is to create new leaders. Each one of us has come onto earth and we've had different paths, and whatever has happened in the history is the history. But whatever position we are, wherever we are, we all have a higher potential. And it is up to us to unlock that full potential, right? And as a leader, then my job is how can I impact as many people as possible and unlock their full potential, right? And if you're able to do that, you've done a great job as a leader because you've touched someone's life, right? And if you invest in your people, trust me, they will take you far. And if they have a shared vision, they share your values, they share your purpose, they will be your driving force to take you to greater heights and help you scale your business.